Hey everyone, welcome back to Hands-On Games. Glad to have you back for another States of Siege game overview. This time we are looking at States of Siege number 3 from Victory Point Games, Empires in America. Game design by Joseph Miranda, developed and graphic design by Alan Emmerich, and game map by Tim Allen. Like I said, this is number 3 in the States of Siege series. If you're interested in taking a look at games 1 and 2, they are also on my channel. They are Soviet Dawn and Zulus on the Ramparts. And this game has a lot in common and some new twists that it adds to the States of Siege game mechanics. So let me give you a quick overview and then we'll jump into a run-through. Alright, so as you've seen, this is a game that's shipped in a poly bag. So everything you need to play Empires in America comes in this one bag. You get the map that you see in front of you. You get the excellent 8-page set of instructions, full color, glossy, lots of good info, answers all your questions. You get a bunch of cards representing leaders, actions, and extra armies, and then you have the tokens, the counters that come with the game to help you keep track of what's going on the board. So that's what comes with the game. So now as for the board itself, what you're doing in Empires in America is you are leading the French. You are defending Montreal against the British coming in from a number of different directions. You got them coming in from the St. Lawrence route, the Champlain route, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and Upper Maine. These British armies will only move when they're commanded by one of their leaders. And the game starts with the British and the French each having one leader. In the beginning, the British will start with Braddock, and the French will start with Langlade. Now you'll notice that it's tracking on these cards both the reputation and their strength. Langlade begins as the strength 2, and Braddock is strength 3. So right off the bat, the British have a little bit of advantage. You'll notice the British have 9 leaders, the French only have 5, and the strongest of the British leaders, they get up to strength 7, and strength 9. When these cards come out, the French are in trouble, and really how these cards come out during the game will typically direct the direction things go. If you can get a lucky draw, a lucky shuffle, and keep these leaders off the board for as long as possible, you greatly enhance your chances of doing well. Just so you see, the French cards, the highest strength leaders are Descaux, Levis, and Montcalm. And I do apologize for any French viewers if I mispronounce these names. I took French maybe in high school, but I don't remember how to pronounce names anymore. Other cards are going to be Provincials, which will provide either the French or British extra armies. Actions that will provide the French abilities to do special actions during their turn, and these are in your hand, and it costs an action point to actually play one of these cards. And finally, a bunch of events that will randomly impact game events. So the game takes place at the start of the French and Indian War, prior to the 7 Years' War breaking out. So to start the game, all of these cards are going to be shuffled together, and you're going to draw 3 at a time from just the blue cards. There's 2 decks. You'll see there's blue cards and red cards. You'll draw 3 cards at a time. You'll either place the British leaders, you'll get additional French leaders, or you'll get action cards to add to your hand. You'll go through the turn sequence, which is a draw card phase, a British phase, a French phase, and then housekeeping. You'll keep doing that over and over, having action play out on the board until the 7 Years' War breaks out by one of these event cards, and you'll start drawing 4 cards per turn, really ratcheting things up. A game will take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how familiar you are with the rules and depending how deep you make it into the game. The win-loss conditions are very simple. If you can hold Montreal until this deck runs out, you win the game. You'll either win a marginal victory all the way up to a crushing victory. Now, if Montreal falls, you're also going to do some math to see how badly you lost. So I've played the game 8 times. I have won the last 2 with both a substantial victory and a marginal victory. The previous 6 plays to those last 2 wins were pretty major defeats until I figured out what was going on with the game system. Also on the map, you have places to put the British leaders. I will show how that works during the game. You obviously have the tracks that the British armies are going to move along. You have nice reminders of the sequence of play, the battle sequence, and a finder here to let you know where British leaders go when they enter the game, and an action point tracker, and a very simple box here showing what you can do with your action points. So that is the that's an overview of the game. It plays like any other States of Siege game. You're going to lose more than you win. You're going to have you're going to be facing great odds to try to survive, and that's what these games are all about. So let me get it set up, and we'll play through a game, and you can see how it plays. Okay, so we are ready to start a game of Empires in America. I think I've already done a pretty good job of giving you an overview of the board. You have British armies standing by here in Halifax, the St. Lawrence Army, in New England with the Upper Maine Army, in New York the Champlain Army, the Ohio Valley Army in Virginia, and finally the Great Lakes Army up there in Hudson's Bay. Right now only one British leader is on the board, Braddock, commanding the troops at Ohio Valley, the Ohio Valley troops, and we have our French leader here, Langlade, and the 1st Marine Regiment available to him. Sometimes leaders will have special abilities. Langlade has a great one where if he uses a militia card during his turn, it'll stay available. It won't get discarded or bottomed. Bottom cards are interesting. These will get shuffled back into the deck once we hit the 7 Years' War. Right now Europe is at peace. Once we get the 7 Years' War card from this deck, we will now be using all the cards. Winning and losing is very, very straightforward in this game. If we let Montreal fall, if one of these 5 armies enters Montreal, game over. If we get through all these cards and Montreal is standing, we will win some sort of victory. There's a sliding scale for how well you did. These leaders have, as I mentioned before, reputations and strengths that will come into play. You'll see that as I play through the game. And the way the game works is has a very simple sequence of play. You draw a number of cards, 3 to start, or 4 once we've entered the 7 Years' War. The British move, and possibly we have some battles, and the French get their action points and take their actions, possibly have more battles. We do some housekeeping, and we keep doing it over and over until there's a decision. So let's go ahead and get started. We will draw 3 cards, and let's see what we get. All right, Forbes is immediately coming into play for the British. Where does he come into play? Well, you're going to roll 2 dice. These 2 dice are going to tell you where on the board he goes. The value is an 8. You'll see that Champlain here says leader placement 8 to 10. So Forbes now commands this army. His reputation is mediocrity, and he has his 3 battalions. Next card. Oh, another British leader. Monckton. All right, so where is he going to come into play? Let's roll the dice. We get a 12. That means he's coming in at the Great Lakes. So already we're getting some British leaders in play. Not good for the French. And finally, we get Provincials, New England Militia. So the Upper Maine track gets to take advantage of this militia card when they're in play. Now normally you would just leave this card down here, but I sometimes forget about them, so I'm just going to put it right there as a reminder. All right, so now that we've done the historique phase, or just the card drawing phase, we now move the British armies following track priority order. St. Lawrence is first. There's no commander there, so this army does not move. It's pretty simple, right? Champlain, yes, we have a leader here at Champlain. It's Forbes. His leader value is a 2. That means his marker is going to move 2 spots halfway to Montreal. That's a bad thing. And right away he's trying to take Fort Ticonderoga. So we have a choice. We can either try to defend that fort or we can let it fall. In this case, this early in the game, we can't let them get that close to Montreal. We have to defend, and luckily these Marines are going to help us with that. Now, unfortunately, this Marine card will be spent when we use it, but they can absorb one hit to keep Langlade kind of safe here if needed. So what you need to do is, in a battle, first step is roll for initiative. Let's roll 2 dice. The red one in this game will be for the British, the blue one for the French. You can see that I rolled a 3 and a 4. You take the 3, you add it to Forbes' command leader rating, which is 2, gives you a 5. Any other modifiers in play? No. So that's it. His initiative roll is a 5. We get a 4 for Langlade plus the 1. That's a tie. But we're defending a fort. We get a +1. We get the initiative. So our strength of fighting is 2 + 2 is 4. So we're going to roll 4 dice. If we roll a 5 or a 6, that's a hit. We only rolled 1 6, so we got 1 hit. So we move Forbes' battalion strength from a 3 to a 2. The battle's not over. Now he counterattacks, and he fires only 2 dice. No hits. So good news for us, we win the battle. Our reputation goes up to recognition. The Marine card now is discarded because, it's bottomed because we won the battle and didn't take any casualties. So we will see this card again later in the game when it's shuffled back in the deck. And his card stops at Fort Henry. He normally would have moved 2 into the fort, but we beat him back at the fort, so he goes back to Fort William Henry. I should note, the game does come with fort markers that you can build for 2 action points, and it comes with forts printed on the board. There are these wilderness spaces. Wilderness have green boxes that are printed in green. Those do not have forts, even if the name of the space says Fort William Henry. So just keep that in mind. So we moved Ohio, and now we go to Great Lakes, and Moncton moves 1 space to Upper Canada, and that's it for the British turn. Now it's the French turn. We only get 1 action point. And, you know, one thing that I forgot right away when the British started their turn, but I'm not worried about it because I'm going to go ahead and use this opportunity to tell you about it right now. The first phase in both the British and French is rally recall leaders. That's where you check, do I have too much of an advantage on one side or the other? And in the British's case, they do. You can't have more than 1 more leader than the other player has. We only had 1 leader on the board, Langlade, right? They had 3. That means we had to get rid of 1. We had to get rid of 1 whose reputation, I'm sorry. So you have to remove 1 leader from the board. And by the way, his reputation is now disrepute since he lost that battle. And the way you do that is you go by reputation first. At the time we were going to remove 1 of these leaders, they all had the same reputation. Then you go by leader ability. Forbes was a 2, so he was going to stay on the board no matter what. We would have gotten rid of Moncton or Braddock. And you go by leader, well, they're both a 1. Now what? Go by battalion strength, they're both 3s. Now what do? It's the player's choice. So I would just do even odd, and I rolled an even. So Moncton is actually removed from the board. So the Great Lakes never moved that turn. And he is bottomed. He's basically recalled, okay? He is not eliminated from the game. He has just been recalled. Okay, so that's straightened out. Now the French are going to take their turn. They get 1 action, so you put the action points marker there on the 1. And what are they going to do with their 1 action? Well, they could battle. So you can pay 1 action point to play an action card, to initiate an attack, or to take a replacement. You take replacements by just simply raising your battalion strength, but you have to have a fort on the board to do that for each point of strength that you pay for. Or you can build a fort, which are speed bumps, and you saw how forts work already. We do have 1 card in our hand. We have the Quebec Militia, so we could get them on the board, but that would cost us our single action point. But we're going to do that because that's a good card to have on the board, so that is going to be our turn. So that's it. That's the French turn. No battling, just getting that action card down on the board. So we start over again and draw 3 more cards. Next turn. Oh, wow. Okay, This is not completely unusual, but you can see how many cards are in here. There's quite a few cards, and already we've gotten the major event of the 7-Year War erupting, so things are going to accelerate pretty quickly. So that just goes there for now. Make a marker there that the 7 Years' War has erupted. Nothing changes this turn. It's the next turn. You'll see what happens. All right, the British got Provincials. George Washington now has joined the Ohio Valley contingent. And the last card, all right, we got some Indians to help out with the fight on the French side. Okay, so the British turn, they're going to start with movement at Champlain. Again, Forbes is going to try to attack Fort Ticonderoga again. Now, you'll see that he has a 2, which normally means you move 2 spaces. Even if he wins this battle, he does stop there. He doesn't move on to the next space. So there's going to be another battle here at Fort Ticonderoga. We're going to have Langlade try to defend again. We're going to go ahead and we can use the Quebec Militia. So the Quebec Militia are going to help us out. We're not going to use the Indians. Actually, you know what? We're not going to be able to use the Indians against Braddock here in Ohio Valley. And why is Braddock's marker only on the 4? He should have moved ahead that last turn. We forgot to move him. Is that true? So we didn't push him back, so he should be on the 3. Okay, I think that's right. So I'm sorry. So do we want to use the Indians? We only have 1 leader in play. He's going to do his 1 battle right now. We're not going to have him available. We'll let them move ahead. So let's just go ahead and make sure we win this battle against Forbes. So we're gonna throw everything we've got at him. All right. So let's see who gets the initiative first. Uh-oh. So Forbes is going to get the initiative because he's got 4 plus 2 is 6. We got 1 plus 1. Defending the fort is only 1. Is 3. So he's going to roll his 2 dice first. No hits. So good news for the French. We get to roll 2, 4, 6, and we are hoping for 2 hits to knock Forbes out and back 1 spot. We got our 2 hits. Whoops, sorry. We got our 2 hits. So Forbes is knocked out. This card goes out of play. He goes back to where he came from. And we get to keep, we have to show that he fought a battle. We get to keep the Quebec Militia on the board, but the Indians, they're going to be bottomed. Because we didn't take any damage, so they again will show up later in the game. We move on to Ohio Valley. Now, Braddock is going to move forward 1 more. There's going to be no battle there at Fort Duquesne. It's not an actual fort. It's just printed that way. And we continue. So that's the British turn. Now the French. Again, the leadership ratio is good. We're going to get 1 action point. And we can't battle because this commander has already fought. This leader has already fought. We can't play an action card because we don't have one. We can't take a replacement because we haven't built any trading posts yet. And we can't build a fort or a trading post because we need 2 action points for that. So our turn is over. Now, since the 7 Years' War has started, we are going to shuffle all these cards together now. And I will pause the video while I get this set up. All right, so now that the 7 Years' War has started, we're going to draw 4 cards each turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, we're trying to get through this deck before the British enter Montreal. First card, action. We'll be able to draw 3 cards later if we want to spend an action point on that. French leader, great. A really, really good French leader. Montcalm is now in the game. So this could help us. This will help us, as a matter of fact. It's not could. He's the best thing we've got. Second, some Algonquin Indians came on to help, and Johnson comes in for the British. Where is Johnson going? He's going to 10, Champlain. Okay, so that army here has a new leader. The British, don't want to give up the progress they've made there, so they send in Johnson to try to make some headway against Fort Ticonderoga, which has been doing well. So first thing for the British phase, we make sure that the leaders don't need to be recalled or rallied. Excuse me, they don't. Everything's good there. So the first leader to move is going to be Champlain here, the number 2 track. So he's going to try to move 1 into Fort Ticonderoga. Let's go ahead and throw... Who are we going to throw at him in the defense? Montcalm would definitely blow him out of the water, but I think I want to save him to attack... but okay. So Montcalm has the ability to attack twice in a turn. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to save the Quebec Militia, and we're actually going to save the Indians for now. Montcalm is going to defend this fort. Let's just go ahead and show that, the battle. And let's roll for initiative. The British get the initiative. We rolled a 6 and a 2, so that's going to be initiative for the British here. So they're going to roll their 2 dice. Isn't too bad. And they get no hits. We, on the other hand, are going to roll our 8 dice, and hopefully Johnson will be eliminated. Ooh. Okay, so that's what happens in this game. You feel really confident, and you get 1 hit. So, the good news is, we did win the battle. But the bad news is, we didn't knock Johnson out. So he does not advance. He does lose some reputation. We gained some reputation. And that's it. So he's been reduced. And now we go over to the Ohio Valley, where Braddock moves into Oswego, 1 spot away from Montreal. So obviously we're going to have to knock him back, which hopefully we will on our turn, which it is right now. So I'm sorry, this is on here from the previous turn. So only Montcalm has battled this turn. Now we have a decision to make. We have 4 action points. Clearly, we need to take care of Braddock here in the Ohio Valley. So, luckily, this leader, Montcalm, has the ability to participate in 1 additional battle. So we'll spend the action point to do that. We'll say action taken for his special ability. And it's the Ohio Valley, so we cannot use the Quebec Militia. However, we can use the Algonquin Indians just to make sure. I'm feeling confident that we can get them bottomed and back into the game to be used later anyway. So I'm feeling pretty good about throwing these Indians into the fight. So first, let's roll for initiative. We do get a bonus with these Indians fighting in wilderness. Now remember, we're fighting against George Washington as well, so he has some extra strength, and he gets also a light troops bonus for fighting in the wilderness. Let's see what we got. We got a 4 and a 1. So that's a strength of 7, 8 against their 2, 3. Okay, we have the initiative. So we are going to throw 8 plus 3, 11 dice at Braddock. Now again, I only have 10, so I'll have to roll 1 more if I don't get the 3 I need right here. And I got the 3 I needed in that roll. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So now here's what happens though. So Braddock has been eliminated. So good news. We do move his army back by 3 because that's our leader value. So all the way back to all the way back to Virginia. 1, 2, 3. So, but the Provincials that were in that battle still get to counterattack. Still get to do some possible damage. So we did win the battle. Let's see if George Washington can do anything. And he rolled a 3. So Georgie's out of the game. Alright, so the Ohio Valley has been cleared out with our first action. Now we still have 3 action points left. And by the way, the Algonquin Indians were successful and they get to be bottomed to come in later. So they'll be reshuffled in the deck at the end of this turn. We have 3 action points left. I want to do some shoring up. What do we have here? 3 cards. I don't think I want to do any battles right now. Instead, I am going to spend 2 action points to buy a fort in the Ohio Valley. I'm actually going to put a fort here at Fort Duquesne. So that's 2 action points. And with our last action point, I'm going to go ahead and play this card, which is to draw 3 safe history cards. What this means is so right now I get to draw 3 cards. If any of them are British leaders, they get bottomed. 1, it's actually better to play this card later in the game, but I have it now, so I'm just going to play it now. So the 3 safe cards I got are good. A leader for the French, Provincials for the British. So the next wilderness battle, these cards will come into play. I'll just put it here as a reminder. And I got an action card to put in my hand. So that was good, because now we got another leader for the French in the game. So that was a good card. Hey everybody, sorry for the stop in the action, but this gameplay goes on for almost another hour. And the French really just cruise right through the game. I spent a lot of time talking about every move I was making, and I stopped the video here because at this point in the video, you've seen everything that you need to know to become familiar with the game and start playing yourself, right? James agrees. So, that being said, I'm not going to put you through the torture of watching me play this game for another 45 minutes when everything you need to know you've already seen. It's a great game, but like any other States of Siege game, it can swing wildly one way or another based on the whim of the dice or the cards that you draw. But, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. So I'm not always going to get a perfect run through when I record playthroughs on this channel, and this was one of them. But I feel pretty good about what you saw so far. Didn't see any major mistakes on my part, and I think it gives a good idea of what the game's all about. So, with that said, James would like you to subscribe to this channel if you've liked what you've seen. If you'd like to see more of James or any of my other dogs, I have 4, let me know and I will get them on the channel. And yeah, please subscribe, please like this video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.